Over the past 2 years, many people have had a problem with law enforcement, and one of the main points of contention has been justice. Many in the public have brought up their frustrations with officers not facing justice when it comes to what they believe as incompetence from law enforcement, and many thought Derek Chauvin and George Floyd would have been the situation necessary to be a step in the right direction, but in walks in Jacob Blake and Officer Rustin Sheskey.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. New details on the Kenosha police shooting that rocked the state.
And tonight, the State Attorney General Josh Kaul gave a new perspective on that incident. In a First Alert update, Katie Anderson is breaking down what we've learned.
Tonight, officials have released the name of the officer involved in the shooting, and investigators have more on what happened at the scene. Kenosha police were initially called to the 2900 block of 40th Street after a woman reported her boyfriend was present and not supposed to be there.
During the incident, officers attempted to arrest Jacob S. Blake, age 29. Law enforcement deployed a taser to attempt to stop Mr. Blake, but the taser was not successful in stopping him.
Investigators say that's when Blake walked to his vehicle and leaned in.
While holding on to Mr. Blake's shirt, Officer Rustin Sheskey fired his service weapon 7 times.
Rustin Sheskey has been on the Kenosha Police Department for 7 years and is a patrol officer. The Department of Justice says Blake later admitted to having a knife.
The Division of Criminal Investigation recovered a knife from the driver's side floorboard of Mr. Blake's vehicle. A search of the vehicle located no additional weapon.
The Department of Justice Division of Criminal Investigation is handling the incident. All evidence will be turned over to the Kenosha County District Attorney's Office, where they will determine if charges will be pressed against the officer.
We will only decide whether any Kenosha police officer is going to be charged with a crime, and that can only occur if we believe that that crime can be proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
The U.S. Attorney's Office confirming tonight it will conduct a civil rights investigation into the shooting, something gravely asked for.
That means we don't have multiple decision points where there are new opportunities for people to be disappointed or enraged, or for there to be unrest.
Many people ad nauseum felt as though Jacob Blake was nothing but an innocent black man at the wrong place at the wrong time. But what people leave out when they talk about this is how the cops were looking specifically for Jacob Blake because a woman had called the cops on him.
First of all, what is the evidence about why police went to the scene? Well, we know on August 23rd they were called by LaQuisha Booker. LaQuisha Booker called the police. She reported that Jacob Blake would not give her back the keys to her rental vehicle, and she was afraid he was going to take that vehicle and crash it. She reported he had done that before. So now police know there's a vehicle in dispute. Jacob Blake already has the keys, and the concern is, will he crash that vehicle in an effort to leave? And so we're going to play that 911 call now, so you will hear that call, what she reported.
23/2020 17/10/35.
Fine, I'm willing to take every emergency. Yes, I need the officer to 2805 40th Street, Unit D.
280540 Street, letter D as in David.
Yes, letter D as in David. Jacob Blake is here, and he has the keys to a rental that I purchased that I need to take back, and he's not trying to release it. And on top of that, he's not supposed to be here. Today is his son's birthday, so I allowed him to spend a couple hours with him, but he's not giving me the keys to this rental. And that's all I'm asking for. I never would have called you guys. I promise you I'll try to keep from calling you guys. He's crashed numerous of my vehicles in the past, and I literally just bought one, like yesterday. And so just because he heard some false information, he's not willing to give me the keys to this car that doesn't even belong to me. Me and my sisters just saw him skirt off in it and turn around and come back. So I need you guys to come and I need these keys.
Okay, what is your name?
My name is LaQuisha Booker. Go ahead and tell her that. Go ahead and tell him that. And not put your shoes on. The police are on their way here. Yes, it is. Do not put your shoes on. This will go back to the place. You didn't even want to go outside.
Is Jacob there right now?
Yes, and he's trying to kiss his kid so he can hurry up and leave. He was here just talking all types of crazy, and now he's walking off now. Now he's getting ready to leave. Well, let me get the license plate.
Okay, and is he white, black, Hispanic?
Hold on, let me get the license plate number. He's kissing the rest of his kids. It's IDJ 935.
I is in Ida, Z and Zebra, J as in John.
No, IDJ 935. Good luck.
V as in Victor.
Yep, B as in Victor.
Okay.
And he's probably about to go crash and he's pulling off right now. IDJ 935.
Now, of course, even though this was public knowledge, many people still cried out the injustices of our society and wanted Officer Sheskey to be fired from duty and locked away in prison and hang with Big Tyrone for the rest of his life. However, after doing an investigation into the matter, not only did federal prosecutors announce in October of last year that they wouldn't file any charges, but the Kenosha County District didn't seek any criminal charges, saying that he acted within the guidelines of a police officer. But to add the icing on the cake, Sheskey returned to being a police officer.
Yeah, Patrick, you heard that 911 call gave police Jacob Blake's name. And on the way to the scene, Michael Gravely, the DA, says officers learned Jacob Blake had a warrant for his arrest that was open. But it's the moment of trying to get him into custody and what happened at that car door that are at the core of the investigation and the DA's decision. With the country and parts of the world watching, the decision, which took more than 4 months to announce, summarized in a single sentence.
No Kenosha law enforcement officer in this case will be charged with any criminal offense.
In a 2-hour explanation on his decision, Kenosha County DA Michael Gravely revealed information shared publicly for the first time in the police shooting of Jacob Blake. According to Gravely, before officers got to the scene, they knew Blake's name from the 911 call and learned he had an active warrant for his arrest. The DA also told reporters Blake made a critical admission to investigators.
Jacob Blake admits to DCI that he had a knife in his hand, and that's what that is.
What happened to that knife was key to the investigation. According to the DA, Officer Rustin Sheskey told investigators when he grabbed Blake's shirt from behind, Blake made a stabbing motion with the knife.
And the knife is now in his right hand, and he goes under his left and makes this kind of movement. So he switches his torso back towards Officer Sheskey. Both officers say that occurred.
Sheskey shot Blake 7 times in the back and side, an amount of force criticized by many. And when use of force expert and independent investigator Noble Ray reviewed Sheskey's statement, he told reporters it was consistent with officers being trained to shoot until the perceived threat is stopped.
At what point in time did Blake drop the knife? Was it at 4 shots? Was it at 3 shots? Was it at 6 shots? Which is really hard to determine.
But during the investigation, the DA quoted, Blake denied using the knife against the officer.
What am I, a knife thrower? I ain't gonna pull no knife on no damn cop. That's just stupid.
Gravely admits, however, neither the officer nor Blake's version could be confirmed from the only videos of the shooting, a pair of cell phones recording from several feet away.
Mr. Gravely, how much more helpful would have body cameras been in this case?
And that is a must. You know, this is a case where both the use of force expert and myself would have been dramatically assisted by body cams being present.
Derek, even with today's decision, is Officer Sheskey still with Kenosha Police?
He is, as are the other officers who were there at the scene that day. All are still employed with Kenosha Police, but we're told all of them are on administrative leave. We should note there is still
today's decision is Officer
is a must. You know, this is a case where both the use of force expert and myself would have been dramatically assisted by body cams being present.
Derek, even with today's decision, is Officer Sheskey still with Kenosha Police?
He is, as are the other officers who were there at the scene that day. All are still employed with Kenosha Police, but we're told all of them are on administrative leave.
But there was still hope for the community because Jacob Blake decided he was going to file a civil rights lawsuit in order to get justice for himself, and hopefully the black community could know a form of peace. Fuck! Now, even though both sides have signed on the dotted line and have agreed to end this with no option to reopen the suit, I just gotta say that this man had no leg to stand on in the first place. The cops were already there looking for him specifically. He resisted arrest, he had a weapon in his hand, and police acted accordingly in that situation. No one can or has been able to make an argument compelling enough to convince me that Jacob Blake had any chance of winning that lawsuit, and no, screaming black injustices and how police brutality is a thing isn't going to hold in court when you have somebody trying to make a claim that he was being wrongfully targeted. And to wrap this all up, there's some people out there that believe Jacob Blake took a settlement and believe that's a win for the black community because a black man, quote unquote, got his money. But if that were to be true, how does that help the black community knowing that a man you believe was going to get justice just accepted money and went back to his daily life? All these issues you people like to talk about and want justice for, and you want everybody to understand the plight of every single person in your community, and all anyone has to do is accept a paycheck and the rest of you be damned. And in my opinion, if you're somebody that's fighting for the rights and all it takes for you to shut up is a paycheck, then that's just fucking pathetic, and that there is no movement, there is only grounds for opportunity. And if this man jumped on it, there's nobody else to blame but yourselves for buying into a concept that nobody had faith in. Oh, and just because I'm still the petty little bastard we all know and love, y'all still don't have this same energy when it's a black person committing a crime against another black person.